Citigroup, China top group, and Prudential, the UK life insurance. And thank you for the invitation. Now, today I'm gonna introduce the hedge fund industry in China. So there might be some overlaps with UBS presentation, so I'm gonna go through this quickly. So this is the overview of the Chinese secondary market. We have bond, we have equity, financial derivatives, commodity, and foreign exchange. So I'm gonna speak more about the financial derivatives. Now we have one options on the active market that is on a large cap 50 stocks, 50 stock ETFs. And also we have three major futures on the large 50, large 300s, small and middle 500. And also we have three futures on the T-bill, okay, 2-year, 5-year, and 10-year. And also we have one option on the active. So it's kind of the derivative market. This is the performance of our equity market over the past 4.5 years, since 2014. So we start at the level of 2000. Compare with the performance of the S&P. Now it's around the 2,800, roughly the same. But look at the progress. It's very different. The Chinese equity market is much more volatile than the US market. That means a lot of things. So there are 4 points I want to mention. First is it's a retail dominated market, like the UBS said. I don't want to say more about that. The second is that a zero-sum game? I think it is. So that means many things. The third is, generally we say in Wall Street, there are two strategies that works well. One is valuation, like Warren Buffett. The other is momentum. But let's say that it works in China. So buy and hold. If your market perform like this, and if you do a buy and hold strategy, that doesn't make any sense. Because if you buy this stock at the half time, and you will lose money, you will return your profits to the market or to others. That means the zero-sum game, right? And the fourth is you have to, as an investor, you have to hedge the volatility. The most efficient way is using financial derivatives. And also you can do some timing. You can diversify your portfolio with other instruments. But you have to think about that. Okay, this is a kind of introduction to the asset management industry. It grows very fast for the past 8 years. On the left-hand side, from the pie chart, you can see this is a big cake for the Chinese fund management industry. Now it's over it's over 15 trillion US dollar for the last year. And half of the cake are shared by the bank and trust. Their products are kindly soft guaranteed. They won't read that in paper, but when you redeem that, the return is kind of softly guaranteed. But things are changing. The regulation will limit the development of that product. So the hedge fund, the mutual funds, they have more space to grow up. And nowadays, the AUM of the hedge funds is around $1.8 trillion. It's roughly the same size of the mutual funds and other investments. And within the hedge fund, there are around 60% is PE, VC. And for the secondary strategies, that's my interest, is around 40%. And now we have over 24,000 hedge funds registered officially, and most of the top fund managers are located in Beijing, Shanghai, and Shenzhen, those big cities. And interestingly, for quantitative funds, most of the managers are back from US or Europe, so most of them are living in Shanghai or Shenzhen because they like the international culture of the city. As the UBS said, within the hedge funds strategy, most of them are the accounts from the equity long-only strategy because it's a retailed market. It's easier, much easier to explain how to buy a stock rather than the story of the derivatives. And also, there are some big names entered China last year, like UBS, like Bridgewater, like Winton, like Experian as well. So why? Because of the attractive market and the opportunity there. First, the alpha is kind significant compared to US, to the developed market, like UBS said. So it's kind of stable. Later I'll explain it in detail. And also there are some mispricing and arbitrage chances. And the hedging cost is getting lower. You can see the chart there. This is the discount of the major future contract for the past 5 years. And you can see the discount means the hedging cost. If you long the stock, you short the futures, right? That's a common way you do the market neutral strategy. And the discount may be 5% per year. And now it's around 1% to 3% per year. So the hedging cost is getting lower significantly. And also to a global investor, it's very important to diversify your risk factor in your portfolio. And the Chinese assets or Chinese strategy is kind of very good as underlying. Okay, and this is historical performance of the major strategies. Okay. Over the past 3 years, we have 2017, 18, and this year. Okay. From this chart, we can see that the market neutral, the bond, the CTA, the arbitrage perform very well. They have positive return every year. Consider last year, the Chinese equity down 24%, which is the bottom of the global market. Okay. So here, I'm gonna recommend the market neutral and the arbitrage strategy. Why? Let's see. Okay. So this is a kind of distribution of the statics. Let's see. The first picture is a long-only strategy. So last year we said the market down. Of course, the long-only strategy give us negative return. Okay. And let's see the market neutral and arbitrage strategy. For the past 3 years, nearly every manager can give us a positive return. And we can see for the median return is around 2%. And the top 25% can give us over 18% return. So that means if you can pick up the right one, your return may be over 10%. And the CTA as well, but CTA is much more volatile than the market neutral strategy. Okay, so how to do that? We try to find the star emerging managers and the strategies. Is that the right way, or is that easy to do that? We generally don't select the fund managers only by their performance of the past years. We prefer the managers that they know, they understand the macro and micro structure of the market, because China is an emerging market, so the regulation change very often. So maybe, for example, like say, for a quantitative fund manager, they have their multi-factor model for selecting to create the alpha. So maybe sometime they will overweight on a single factor, let's say the size factor, because before 2016 or 2015, the small cap stock can outperform the large cap, maybe you say 5% every year. So many guys, they will overweight the size factor, and they perform very well. Maybe they will rank the top 10 in the industry. But after that, they may lose a lot of money. So generally, we prefer that managers, they have a kind of balanced weights on many factors, not only overweights on one single risk factors. That's a risk. So we'll keep an eye on those kind of things. First, the drift. Maybe managers say, oh, I'm a conservative, but maybe half a year later, when the fundamental change, when the market environment change, he or she would be more aggressive. That's what we don't want. Second, the lifespan or the life cycle of the strategy. I'm the judge of many awards, so when I saw the list of their candidates every year, it changed a lot. That means there's no one strategy can work for maybe say over 2 years or 3 years. So you have to understand the market. Let's say, for example, maybe a new derivative come into the market. Maybe you don't need to have to trade it, but you have to understand the impact to the market, to the other player of the market, and how their behavior will change. So that's very important. And also short selling. Short selling is very important for a portfolio. Let's say short selling, global micro, and CTA is very useful to diversify your risk factor. But for net short selling, it's prohibited. And also for some period, the net selling or hedging is prohibited as well. So that is another challenging to some neutral strategy. And also the regulation is changing rapidly, so I won't want to talk about this now. Okay, our solution. So we find this, we have to face this challenge and risks. So how do we do for this one? So we generally do the investment due diligence and operation due diligence. And also we will define what they can do, what they cannot do in paper. So ask them to remain focused, because for Chinese markets, there are going to be more arbitrage opportunities. So as a fund manager, maybe he worked on the maybe say equity market, but he would say, oh, there is a very good chance for making money in the bond market, so I want to do some bond. We would say no. There will be other guys, other teams will work on that. So stay focused. That's a very common problem in China. And also, we will ask for the transparency at the position level. So this is a kind of system. I'd like to appreciate the help from our business partner, Entrepreneur, with their over 40 years experience in the global fund of funds management. We developed this system derived from their idea and localized some function. With this system, we can watch on the position on the bottom. So that's very important. So with of course, with the approval from the clients. So sorry, this is in Chinese because at the moment we don't have English version. So that means we can analyze the sector under the alpha. Sorry. Where is the alpha from? From the exposure of the sector, or from the exposure from the, let's say, size factor, from the growth factor? So we need to know where is the alpha from, and that means the risk. So this regulation, as UBS said before, but I would say for the past 2 years, the regulation changed a lot. So the issue is to kind of the guide, and I gave our suggestion to the CSRC, and we have talked 3 times last year, and I think they are very they are very supporting this kind of business. So it's very important for us. So this business is the right direction for us and getting support from the government. And also there are some channels for global investors for investing in China. So one is the QFI, like UBS, what I do, and also the Connect. So you can connect to invest on the Chinese equity and bond market. And third is through the MSCI and FTSE. So that is some way to do that. And also, like the UBS said, they're expecting the QFI plus fund. I would say that's very difficult. But the thing is, they are working on a scheme that you can use a QFI plus MOM, so manager of manager system. So it is on the way. Maybe it's in 2 or 3 months. Maybe you can see that results. Okay, that's my presentation. Thank you.